Hello, my dear health seeker, Inga from Health Origins, and welcome to my Cook Along for Weight Loss show that we have here every Sunday at 7 o'clock GMT time. So what we're going to be doing today is a very quick, easy, but yet very tasty recipe, scrambled tofu. So I've got my induction hob here and a pan, a frying pan. And we're going to need two types of tofu or a hard tofu and also some cream cheese. So I make a delicious cream cheese from my soy yogurt. I'll have to share a recipe with you in the future, but it's basically if you go to my yogurt recipe that I'm going to link in the card above and the description below, and you just pour that yogurt into a nut milk bag or a doubled or tripled muslin cloth, and kind of gathered the fabric and press with something a little bit and keep it in the fridge and let it drip out. And that's when you have the delicious soy homemade cream cheese. However, as we were traveling, for the last few days, I did not make cream cheese, so I'm going to be using this Violife vegan cream cheese that you can get in the stores. It's a coconut-based one, but you can get some other ones, soy-based as well. So just cream cheese or a silken tofu would work as well. For silken tofu, you would need to blend up the tofu first. So just in an immersion blender or in your normal blender. Okay, so just blend up the silken tofu, and that would work instead of cream cheese too. So for the firm tofu, so I've got a block of firm tofu that I've crumbled up into small pieces, like what you would get in like egg scramble. So the easiest way I find how to do this is to cut them into like about a centimeter slices and then just crumble it up. You can do the whole block and crumble it, but you find it's kind of tears in bigger pieces and it's harder to manage that way. So I try to slice it and then I crumble up really quickly, like this. So there you go. So I've got my a block of about 250 grams, I think it is. Or, if you wanted more scramble, you could do a 400-gram block too of the firm tofu. Then I've got 3 scallions or spring onions chopped up. Then the spices we're going to need is turmeric. So we'll need 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. We'll need 1/2 teaspoon of, actually, let me just start preheating my my pan while I'm talking. So 1/2 teaspoon of ground cumin and 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. Onion powder, you don't need to put it, but I really like adding it everywhere. So I think it works. And then I've got some vegetable stock just for when we're going to be deglazing the pan, because we're going to be frying everything with no oil as usual, and 200 grams of cream cheese like I already mentioned. So that's basically it. We're going to wait for the frying pan to warm up a little bit. And we're going to start with frying the onions. So it's heating up nicely. So basically you want to fry your onions for a few minutes, and we are dry frying them. And if they start to stick, we're going to be using a little bit, a couple of tablespoons of stock at a time to deglaze it all. So I've got a non-stick frying pan here. It's actually coated in the ceramic, and I'm finding it quite good. I'll link for you guys what pan I'm using as well. So if you fancied, you could get one yourself. It's Salter brand, I believe. Just to double check. Yeah, Salter. It's quite a recent purchase of mine. They were on sale, so I've went for it because we didn't have like a really nice non-stick smaller pan. Because I tend to, for bigger amounts of something, of a curry, I tend to use a non-stick pot, like a big black pot that I've got. I normally fry things in there to start them with, to start off, because then I obviously kind of build it up, add some milk, and you kind of want a bigger receptacle to hold it all. Whereas with this, it's not going to be a massive amount. So like a smaller frying pan is really handy to have sometimes for if you want to fry some mushrooms or some onions or something, just a smaller amount. So it's good to have. So yeah, so they're frying up nicely. If you don't have scallions, shallots will probably work as well. And possibly red onion. I wouldn't use red onion because it will change the color for you. So perhaps white onion at a pinch. But spring onions work quite well because they're not as harsh. They just work well for this scramble. An original scramble recipe idea I got from Bosch, guys. So this is from their recipe. So yeah, they are starting to brown a little bit. I'll just pour a little bit of stock to moisten it. So you need to fry the onions for, a couple of minutes, 3-4 minutes perhaps. And just because you don't want the onions to burn, and mine is pretty hot actually, the pan, it evaporates the stock pretty fast. So you just want to keep on pouring and keep on frying the onions to keep them moist. Because you want them nice and soft, you don't want them too crispy or burnt or dried in this recipe. So yeah, so they're nice and moisturized now. I am talking about food here, guys. Moisturizing, that's a strange way of using it. Right, so I'm adding half a teaspoon of cumin. It gives this nice smell. I just use the same measure for my onion powder, half a teaspoon. And then don't do it like me. Get a couple of different teaspoons for your spices. You don't want to mix them together. And then half a teaspoon of turmeric. But be careful with turmeric powder. You don't want to burn it at all. So I'm going to add a quick addition of more stock so that it doesn't get burnt to the pan, to the bottom of the pan. Just add a bit of that. And then we're ready to now add the cream cheese. So I'm going to add my cream cheese. Actually, I've never used this cream cheese. It's fairly solid. Wow, it's a very solid block. So perhaps I should have blended that one a little bit as well. But I think it'll probably melt. Yeah, it's melting in all right. So first you want to either melt your cream cheese into this onion mixture, or if it's a soft tofu, can't even speak today. I'm sorry. Must be all the relaxing in the last few days. We were visiting Isle of Arran for Mark's birthday, so I think yeah, I'm in the relax mode still. So you want to blend the silken tofu, if you're using silken tofu, first, or get the cream cheese melted into the onion and spice mixture first, so it's all heated through. And then the last step we'll do is to put the firm tofu pieces and also kala namak salt. Unfortunately, I don't have it. I ran out of it. So we'll just be adding some normal salt to our plate when we're eating. But to get an even more realistic smell, taste, of actual being eggy, like a scramble, definitely get kala namak salt and sprinkle a little bit, because it has that sulfuric, eggy taste. So my cream cheese is melting into the onions nicely. It's looking pretty good. And it's got this nice eggy yellow color from the turmeric that I've added. So definitely need to add that for the more realistic taste. And I'll tell you a funny story as well. I made this dish once at my parents-in-law, and actually my father-in-law didn't see me cooking it or anything. And when he was eating it, he asked me, "Oh, so how many eggs you use? Because there's a lot of this scramble." So he actually thought when he was eating it that it was made from eggs. I think he didn't think that eggs were not vegan, but I don't know what he thought. But I was so chuffed that actually he thought it was like a real egg scramble. So now it's nicely starting to kind of boil up. It's hot, so I'm adding my crumbled up firm tofu. You could make it with just the firm tofu, and I've made it before, but it's not as nice and creamy if you don't add the silken tofu or the cream cheese. The cream cheese and silken tofu adds this moistness to this dish. So definitely try it with that. And then we're going to need to warm this back up and kind of maybe dry out a little bit of that extra moisture, so it becomes looking even more like a scrambled egg again, so it's not as moist, because now it's quite runny. It's almost like the eggs that before they fully cook through. So we want to heat it up, and that tofu will also soak up some of that cream cheese liquid. Yeah, it's looking good. While it's cooking, I'm gonna quickly go and run to get some just normal salt. Wow, it's proper bubbling up now. It's looking good. Smelling good too. I think the me making it with coconut cream cheese on this occasion will probably impart a little bit of coconut, or a slightly, like, maybe sweeter, different kind of taste. So we'll see what it's like, because I've never made it with this cream cheese. But with silken tofu that I made, or with my homemade soy cream cheese, it's very neutral. And you also have to experiment and see, because obviously when you make it with cream cheese, it has a little bit of sourness. Like this will have a little bit of sourness, whereas if you make it with silken tofu, it's pretty neutral. And just try it both ways. Maybe try it with silken tofu first for a more authentic kind of eggy experience, because obviously eggs are not sour normally when you cook them. So maybe try with silken tofu and firm tofu first, and then try it with the homemade cream cheese and see which one you prefer. So it'll be interesting for me to try this one as well, with a bit of more sourness going through. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more kind of watery, well, not watery, but thinner consistency than it is with the silken tofu. So perhaps either you need to cook it a little bit longer, or if you don't mind, a little bit runnier texture of your scrambled eggs or scrambled tofu, then that will be fine. But if you want, really want that kind of drier egg scramble texture, then perhaps you might want to consider of putting only half of the cream cheese. I think that would actually be sufficient in this instance too. So still pretty liquid, I must say. So I'm not sure how long it would take for that a bit more water to evaporate. Maybe give it another minute or so, and I think we'll do the taste testing. So let me know what other recipes you'd like me to do on the Cook Along for Weight Loss show, guys. What do you want me to cook with you next? And if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Consider subscribing for more Cook Along shows like this and videos every Wednesday that I release. And you might have noticed this paint placard, or what you call it, can't even think. So that thing on the wall there, right, has my motto, food is fuel, because that's what I believe, that we need to treat food as fuel and only put the best and the right fuel for our bodies for them to perform optimally for us. So now it's going really rapid boil now. Yeah, it's still very creamy. So if you like a runnier scrambled egg, that you'll probably like this. If not, maybe just do half of the cream cheese, or silken tofu makes it drier as well. So that's it. So I'm gonna just switch that off, and I'm gonna just ladle a little bit for me to try, and perhaps my husband will come to try it. Mark, are you coming to taste test? So I'm gonna just put a bit of salt on here.
Hello, everyone.
Actually, do you want to grab yourself a fork?
Okay.
Sorry. So this time I was saying the eggs are a little bit runnier because of that cream cheese I used instead of silken tofu.
Okay.
So
let me add it.
Careful, it's hot. Nice, huh?
Yeah.
And also, this doesn't have the color namak salt that would add sulfuriness and egginess, so
Yeah.
we ran out.
I was
But
going to say it's not quite as eggy as the last one I had, but it's still very tasty.
yeah,
It's actually really quite got a richness to it.
yeah.
And I think obviously the cream cheese has done that.
Yeah.
Maybe
Half of the cream cheese, I was saying.
maybe
If you
a little more cumin.
A little bit more cumin.
For my taste, I think I would prefer a little bit more cumin, but
I love this.
obviously you can flavour it as much or as little as you like.
Guys, this is good. It is very moist and creamy still. So like I said, if you're using the Violet cheese that I've used, use maybe half of it. With the silken tofu, you should be fine. And with my homemade cream cheese, I actually haven't made it yet myself. So that will be my next experiment once I have that. But yeah, give this a shot and let me know. And let me know what you thought. And yeah, that's it,
So
guys. Until next Sunday show.
Bye-bye.